Ladies and gentlemen, countrymen of all ages, I am excited to announce to you today that we have a new contender entering the arena, trying to grasp the brass ring and be titled the dumbest MP currently in Canada's parliament, because Liberal MP Taleeb Noormohamed decided to threaten the subsidized media today because they're not being positive enough of the federal Liberal government. This is incredible. I'm going to jump right into it. So, we have Terry Newman here. She is a reporter and opinion writer for the National Post, a more conservative publication. They do get government subsidies, as most of the legacy media does. The funny thing is that most of the people who work at the National Post actually probably oppose media subsidies. They just happen to take them because they're allowed to take them. But I think that they would prefer there being less bad quality competition around rather than they get, a couple $100,000 here and there while the CBC is getting 1.4 billion. But Terry Newman here was just making a comment at Mark Miller saying that this man is very dangerous and has been very dangerous for Canada. Mark Miller obviously is our current immigration minister, and she is absolutely right. He has made Canada a far more dangerous place with the mass immigration that Canada has been taking in, our crime skyrocketing. It's just a less affordable country to live in, all that stuff. So Terry Newman's right. And then she followed up that tweet and with this one saying, incredible how much damage a party and minister can do to a country in 9 years. And then Taleeb Noormohamed jumps into the the conversation and says, your paper wouldn't be in business were it not for the subsidies that the government that you hate put in place. The same subsidies your Trump adjacent foreign hedge fund owners gladly take to pay your salary. So I guess Taleeb is now on the record against media subsidies. Either he's against media subsidies or he's basically trying to threaten the National Post that they're not living up to their subsidies, that they're somehow threatening their funding by having writers who have their own opinions. The funny thing was, this wasn't even like the National Post was doing reporting and that's what Terry Newman was saying in her report. This is her own private X account where she is making her own comments on different political issues. And Taleeb, rather than, maybe doing a better job in government so there's more positive things to say, just comes out and starts attacking her and the National Post because they get subsidized. And the thing is, he's using the fact that they're subsidized as a point against them, which means that Taleeb, not even probably being aware of it, is basically also saying the fact that the CBC is getting subsidies is also a bad thing. Except he thinks it's a good thing because the CBC says nice things about the federal Liberals. They don't complain that other publications, the Tyee is very pro-liberal, and that's, somehow bad because they're getting taxpayer money. They don't care if you're pro-liberal. They just don't like if you're anti-liberal. So you're allowed to be neutral or pro-liberal, just not anti-liberal. And remember, we're paying you. He's just so bad at this. If I was Justin Trudeau, well, one, I would just resign and end the whole thing now. But goodness, I would just start tossing a lot of these people out of the party at mock speed, including myself, obviously. But assuming I'm Justin Trudeau, I'm not allowed to do that. So many of the Liberal MPs these days are extremely low caliber. It's just party hack activists. They aren't able to connect with the average person because they have completely reshaped themselves in trying to please Justin Trudeau. So they don't know how to talk to the average middle class person anymore because average middle class people are not Justin Trudeau, and they only know what the interests of Justin Trudeau are and how to satisfy those. And so in this situation, Taleeb should know to shut his mouth, but he's trying to play to Justin Trudeau to make Justin Trudeau happy. At the same time, Justin Trudeau himself, not being a particularly smart guy, is at least smart enough to say, dude, shut up about the subsidies. I made a joke about it a few years ago that, well, he subsidized the media, so they're all friendly to me, and that didn't go very well. Trudeau's already been through this whole dog and pony show, and now his own Liberal ministers are reviving the issue of the fact that the Liberals know that the media knows that they're subsidized, and if they say too many negative things, they could find an excuse to pull back on the subsidies. But anyways, this is exactly why we should have no media subsidies at all. No journalist should even be thinking that the government could take away subsidies because they shouldn't have them in the first place. As soon as you have a subsidy from the government, even then, you are incentivized now to be nicer to the federal Liberals. Even the National Post, I would say, sometimes goes a little bit more mild on issues because they don't want to rock the boat too much. And they're the conservative paper. They tend to even lean a little bit more red Tory-ish. They were a big backer of Aaron O'Toole back in the day. And before that, they would have been, like very, like they would have liked more soft conservatives. I wouldn't say like Andrew Scheer, but other people. It's a very Michael Chong-ish type news publication. I generally like them. I think they've gotten better over the years, but you can tell that they still have to warp their coverage around the fact that the Liberals, if they don't like them enough, could just say that they violated their duties to the country and they're no longer allowed to have, their few $100,000 of subsidization per year. Anyways, and I think the people on YouTube who do shows like me prove you really don't need subsidies to do the news. It's pretty easy just to turn on a camera and talk. I know this is more commentary, but in the US, news publications don't get money from the government unless you're NPR or PBS, and somehow they're still able to function. It's almost like they actually have to then please the audience instead of pleasing the government, and then the audience will pay them. Advertisers will pay them. The CBC almost gets no advertising money because nobody watches them, and advertisers won't pay very much if they know only 18,000 people a night are watching the National. Oh. Anyways, that's actually truly the end of the video now. See you guys later. I'll have something out tomorrow of some description.